In September 2019, Architecture Is held a week-long festival in Bath, discussing, debating and challenging how we can make a city that is good for the body, mind and soul. This film explores how to be representative, remove barriers and close the gap between communities in the design of our built environments.
What I've learned is if you can't take the community with you, you won't do anything.
We're interested in making places that are particular to the people, to the place and to the time.
I fervently believe that we have to design instead the life, then think about what kind of activities we support it, and then look at the infrastructure around it. So the first commandment is that in order to get there, you have to include everyone. And if you have really good data, and you have a great city that has lots of people walking around in it, but only people you're seeing are between the ages of 23 and 45, and yet you know you have families, you know you have pensioners, then your city's not working well enough. Because not everybody's there. If it's good enough for the 8-year-olds and it's good enough for the 80-year-olds, you're doing something right. So we've got to design cities that work for everyone. And we've got to think about being a broad church. Again, about the life we want to have and the spaces that we need. And toward that end, then, is creating hybrid spaces and recognizing that that great plaza out by Bath Abbey and any of these parks, the great places we can all think of serve multifaceted, multifunctional purposes. They're never one thing all the time. The great spaces in the great cities serve many, many uses for many, many people.
This is a shared public space for all modes of transport, including pedestrians and bikes, just outside the main station in Rotterdam. And you can see also that it's very grassy. So the Dutch cities are increasingly, they do have pedestrian zones, but more and more they're doing shared spaces, multimodal spaces, where a lot of the regulations are taken away, and the idea is that people will be forced to take care of what other people are doing and will control their behaviour, and they kind of work.
We really try to focus on what is special about each place, so the architecture essentially becomes a platform to enjoy what was already there.
So it's not just about delivering health to people. Health as the ability to adapt and self-manage in the light of physical, emotional, social challenges of life. And so that idea of agency, whether it's the agency of opening a window because you're in a stuffy room, or the agency of changing your mode of travel, or changing your employment, so to bring your mode, to bring a more active mode of travel or a commute closer to you. Or the agency of getting involved in your neighbourhood and in the design of your neighbourhood. And I think that's something where we can really open some doors.
And I think one of the complexities of moving away from something that is, you should do this, is the recognition that you can do it, and we are doing it, but without the right combination of actual individuals who you can work in this way with, it's really difficult, because at the base of all of this is trust. 23 years health gap, and as people will know who are involved in public health, whatever resources are going into areas like Liverpool and very highly and historically deprived areas, we aren't closing the gap with other parts of the country. And that's a major problem. And at the same time, financial resources are being pulled out more and more and more.
This shows that there is a 10-year disparity between some of the communities in Bath. Some people will live, are expected to live 10 years longer than others.
Our cities are for everyone, therefore they need to be designed and developed by everyone. The theory of change, that ultimately through these projects what we want to work towards is that in the future our cities or our places will be designed in a participatory way, so involving end users, by designers and decision makers who are representative of contemporary Britain.
We can't talk about us and them. People are people and we need to treat them as such. It has to become more all-embracing and inclusive. And how liberal or restrictive a country's immigration policy is a matter of politics. We can't impact on that necessarily. But we can't just close our eyes and ignore the fact that we're living in a more diverse culture than ever before. And we believe the best way to build new communities is to allow people to meet, to share experiences, stories, ideas, and to eat together, allow people to get to know each other properly. We have to consistently refuse to accept hostile design, hostile architecture, I think, in everything that we do. I know you have issues here. I cover the UK, so I know everyone has issues in every town and city, to be honest, with homeless people and rough sleeping. And if a community has that on their doorstep and people sleeping on the streets and in parks at night, that's got to be dealt with through politicians and social services. In all honesty, it's not our job to just add spikes and obstacles to furniture to prevent even the most vulnerable people having somewhere to lie down at night. We also need to understand what safer cities really are all about. They're not a product of more police, more CCTV, more padlocks, more closure of parks and open spaces at night. That might create a feeling of safety, but it's fake, it's not real safety. That's brought about by people being on the street through the day, through the night, people feeling a real sense of belonging, using the urban environment together with others and it becoming an attractive proposition, not excluding people or people from particular places. We've got to keep universal design in mind in everything we do. We're designing pieces of furniture, but obviously there's a much bigger picture. And it's key to have that at the front of our mind, I think, to develop diverse and inclusive environments at every scale.
Declutter the streets, remove all the signage, remove all the barriers, and make the streetscape defined by the urban landscape.
But we should consult in a meaningful way at the right level, and then once we've agreed it, go and do it. Don't consult at everything, and each time allow people to think they're going to influence a policy which has either been agreed or won't happen anyway. You know, it's just a huge waste of time. So yeah, clear national policy, clear regional policies underneath that, which of course we don't have in England either. We just have, and then so local authorities know exactly where they stand and what they need to do.